Hey, it's good to see you again. In this video, I'm going to try to quickly walk through some exemplar passion project slideshows for you to look at, as well as other things I did in my passion project class. And if I talk too fast, I apologize. I'm trying to make sure that I don't talk too much because then YouTube will tell me that my video is too long and it won't upload it to my channel. So here we go. What you see in front of you are the materials I presented or introduced back in the winter PD session that are Newsela created handouts to be used for their articles. And they're just handouts that are either graphic organizers or even handouts on collecting the main ideas of a text and whatnot. The reason why I'm showing you this because I'm going to have all of these available again in the spring PD folder in Schoology. You can access it in the winter PD folder. I think it's still there, but to make it easier, I'll have all of this available in the spring PD folder in case you want to use any of this stuff. But in the other video that I presented, you might recognize some of these handouts that I talked about that pertain to the actual passion project slideshow that my students created for my class. So with that in mind, I'm going to switch gears and show this. And this is the rubric that Newsela offers for their remote learning project, that is the passion project. And for the most part, the rubric that they're using is trying to make sure that students are utilizing articles from Newsela as well as outside articles such as LA Times, New York Times, and two media sources. And I tried to merge this rubric with our YCSC communicated message rubric, which maybe not the cleanest job to do, but I wanted to try to honor this kind of rubric so that students knew exactly what their slideshows had to contain. And then I tried to make my projects or APTs to be of a higher point value. So I did something here to bring this total from 20 to 10, which I'll talk about that in a few minutes. But here is a rubric that I tried to use to grade their projects. And from here, maybe I'll share this one. So again, in short, passion project is this idea that students are researching a topic of their interest because they're passionate about this topic, and they're researching through means of looking through articles on Newsela, as well as articles outside of Newsela that help to narrow their focus of what it is they want to teach others about their topic. In this class that was about 6 weeks, there's a lot of reading, a lot of researching this and collecting links. And it came down to this. So you don't have a name for this student, but this student was really into Japanese culture. Even though in his handouts for brainstorming for ideas and collecting links, not everything was Japanese culture related. And I think because he was trying to kind of figure out what direction to go to. But with my guidance and seeing that his interest is more about Japanese culture, I helped him to try to fine tune his vision. So this is a slideshow that he presented with this essential question to teach others what is Japanese culture. And then from here, he tries to explain to us what it is. In a slideshow, there's not much text that might fully address the question, but in his presentation, he tried to elaborate on what a slide is saying. And then because Japanese culture, he was asking me, well, what can I talk about? And there's so much. And that's where I said, well, you can talk about this about Japanese and this about Japanese culture. So he tried to narrow it down between sports, cuisines, and anime, since he's a big fan of anime and apparently pretty knowledgeable about Japanese cuisines. So here's one where he tries to talk about Japanese sports. And again, this is being done to educate people in the classroom about one aspect of their sports in Japan, which is sumo wrestling. And he had a video, which I would recommend you have your students do. So there's a audio visual component to some of the information they're talking about. I think this video is about 2 minutes or so. And it's a great thing to show students how to integrate a video that is not just a link, but an actual video player that they can view on the slide. And then from there, he talked about the cuisines and then tried to teach students about udon and tempura and then ramen. And then from there, his, I think, overall favorite of the Japanese culture is the anime and manga, and teaching us about this. This I do recall him researching some articles on Uzella about anime. So some of these facts are derived from those articles. So that does tell me, okay, this guy did, bring that info from a text that he read in the class into a slideshow. But and then he ends the class with the video. And I think what happened was the rubric calls for two media sources, so this counts as one, and this other video counts as another. But overall, his passion project was like Japanese culture, and but it didn't start that way. Like I think that was something I helped him toward the end of the term of our classes, whereas before he just wasn't sure like what he wanted to talk about. So as a reminder to teachers that you might have to step in to help redirect their focus, or if you know your students pretty well, probably offer suggestions so they know or they have a better sense of what they can talk about, but importantly, what they can teach others about what they've learned. Another slideshow here, I'll go to this one. Another student who chose to talk about social media influence, and then she kind of went about it in the sense of providing like a table of context, her essential question with the supporting questions, and these supporting questions are derived from a handout that they completed, I think, 2 weeks prior to this final project. And the students are different. They're going to approach these slideshows differently unless you provide a structure or a template that there's something you want to see exactly. Then you might end up with something like this, where she's trying to explain the social media influence on people and what we see and how we might replicate what we see in TV. And then her social media or her media sources are here, which there should be one video included here, but she's got, two, but she only has one. But overall, something to make note here is that, the pageant project is meant to be like, hey, this is your topic. How do you want to present it? How do you want to organize it? Which might involve a class session where you might want to give examples of possible slideshow templates or how to structure them. But if you're thinking about, hey, this is your idea, how do you want to teach us? Then that might ask the teacher to be a little more involved in kind of guiding the students and in organizing their ideas into a slideshow. Another example here is one by a student that wanted to talk about cryptocurrency. And I think this is the only one that early on in our class was already talking about it. In one of our brainstorm handouts, I recall her mentioning cryptocurrency, and I thought, well, that's pretty interesting. So when I gave her feedback, I said, hey, this could be a pretty cool topic for your, pageant project slideshow, which of course she's like, wait, what are you talking about? But then once we got closer to our final project dates, and she kind of was able to see what I was trying to suggest, for some reason, she went back and deleted information, which is a bummer, because I thought, well, but at least there's something here to show you where she's trying to guide the audience in this cryptocurrency topic. How will cryptocurrency shape the future? I'm pretty sure one of these slides probably was her talking about what is cryptocurrency, examples of cryptocurrency. These are things I had to show her so she could be more aware of audience, so that their audience can know what they're being told. And it talks about Bitcoin, and she provides a video here. And kind of goes more into the idea of blockchain, which I was like, what's blockchain? But then I thought she did pretty well to explain that and then provide a video for that concept. So for me as a teacher, I was taught something I didn't know. And that's the purpose of Pageant Project, where you allow students to really pursue and follow what interests them. Overall, as a teacher, you got to decide if what kind of structure to offer your students for these pageant projects. If it's a case where you're going to let them freely roam these topics and let them decide for themselves what to present on, then then there's something nice about that, because you're letting students take the autonomy in their learning to really put together this package of information that through hopefully a sense of pride and honor they want to share with others, right? And that's how you want to sell it. You want to sell it to them as, hey, what are you passionate about, and what is it about that passion you want to teach others? So this kind of class does involve a looser structure, as opposed to, let's say, in an English class, you might have stories assigned per week, or a novella you might have to read. This one you are letting students freely, well, not as freely, but you're letting them to really explore their options. And all you do is just kind of be their support and help coach their learning. The one thing I do want to show you is what I added to this slideshow component that was not in the Newsella curriculum rubric is self-evaluation. And I've wanted students to really just kind of like give themselves their own points. Like, how did they do? What was their project about, and why did they choose this project? What do they believe worked well? What could have been done better? Because I wanted them to evaluate themselves. I do think the Newsella curriculum remote learning unit plan, it does say there's a component where students can give each other feedback in this like peer-to-peer feedback. But I was not able to incorporate that because I had students at various levels of completion. So the next best thing was, well, if I can't have them, evaluate each other, then they can self-evaluate and let them be honest with themselves. So this student in question, she gave herself a B, and I thought, not bad. I think she did pretty well. But it's just a great way to provide some kind of a self-analysis in your own learning. All right, so that's the video for these Passion Project exemplars. These will be available in the Schoology folder for you to review and to compare and get ideas. And I shared these just so that you can see what my students turned in. And of course, the idea is that I'm just sharing information, but there's something you like, and if you can make it better, by all means, just make it better. All right, good to talk to you. Thanks for coming over, and I'll see you soon.